everyone. My name is Janet with Community Hospice, and today we are going to be creating a piñata, and I will go ahead and start off with letting you know the materials that we will be needing for this activity. As you can see here, I have a carton, a half-gallon carton that we'll be using. We'll be using a sponge paintbrush, and we will be using paint, stapler, glue, scissors, and little pom-poms with different colors, candy, a cord, and of course the tissue paper as well. To get started, we'll have our half-gallon carton ready, and we will have our paint and our sponge paintbrush. And what we'll want to do is we'll want to use a little bit of the paint and just go over the carton all over, getting rid of all of the colors, as you guys can see here. For the next step, you'll want to grab your scissors and you'll want to have your tissue paper laid out just like I do here. And what I want to do is I want to cut a strand of the paper into a shape like this. And as you guys can see, you'll want to cut all the way across in this portion. I'll grab the scissors and I will cut straight across. Make sure your tissue paper is lined up to be able to go straight across. And I'll cut all the way to the end. As you guys can see, I have different colors of tissue paper here. I have blue, I have pink, I have red, and yellow, and green. And so when you're cutting through, you should have them layered over each other, and then you will get the strand of different colors like I do here. For the next step, you'll want to have your tissue paper nicely stacked, and what you'll want to do is you'll want to start cutting on the tip of your tissue paper. So I'll take my scissors and I will actually just cut on the tip, just a little bit on the bottom, and I'll do that all the way across my tissue paper until I get to the end. So after you have all of your strips cut out, what you'll want to do is have your glue stick ready, and you will actually start to grab one of the stands, whichever color that you want. I'm personally favoring the red one. So I'm going to start off with that color and add a little bit of the glue to the bottom. All the way around. So I'm going to grab my strand, and I will actually leave a little bit of the portion on the bottom where I have cut towards the bottom. So I'm going to actually leave about that much off. Let me show you guys. And then I'm going to press down to make sure everything is sealing. And do the same to the other side. I will wrap it around to this corner as well. As you guys can see, there is an excess amount of tissue paper here, so I will want to get my scissors and cut that off. And we'll get rid of that. And we'll have a little bit more glue added just to make sure that everything seals on that little extra space. So as you guys can see now, we have this bottom portion freely moving here. As we lay it down, it'll come up like this. So now for the next step, I will go ahead and grab my glue, just like I did earlier. I'm going to add another strand, and I'm going to wrap it around just like I did before. On each side. I'm going to use the color green for this one, and Let's see here. Maybe add a little bit more. So I'm going to push down. On each side to make sure it gets a good seal. And all the way down. Looks like this side needs a little bit more. All right, and so we want to make sure everything is nicely wrapped around here. And it looks like we can actually cut this portion off as well. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that first. I'm gonna cut all the way to the end. Same step as before. We will go ahead and add a little bit more glue to make sure we have a good seal. So, as you guys can see here, this is kind of what it's looking like now that we have added the second strand. So what we want to do is we want to do this repetitively. So we actually want to grab every single strand that is able to fit on your carton. And we will go ahead and add another layer here, add another layer all the way until you get to the top around this side. And just make it into different colors is what we want to do. And it'll look something like this. All right, guys, so for the next step, I want you guys to take some of the leftover strands of your tissue paper that we had cut out earlier, and we want to layer the top part of the carton one by one in different colors. But before we get to that point, we want to actually go ahead and add some of our favorite candy that we want in our piñata. So what we want to do is we want to open the carton up and put the candy inside there. We're gonna put a few of them in there. All right, now we'll go ahead and close this nice and tight, and we will staple the top. There's one staple on there, and then I'm going to add a second one just to make sure everything is nice and closed. Now back to the step that I was mentioning. All right, so I am ready to put our tissue paper on. I'll start off with the pink. It looks like there's a little area that could be cut off just to make it the right size. So I'm actually going to take my scissors and I will cut it all the way to the end. And that should do it. A little further that way. So there we go. And it looks like it needs a little bit more on the top. So one more line of that glue. So there is one color on the top already. And then we'll choose the second layer. Add more glue to the very top. Just like that. And as you guys can see, I have 2 layers already. Okay. And our last layer. All right, so for the next step here, as you guys can see, I have my piñata tissue paper is from the top to the bottom. My 3 strands of tissue paper, small cutout, are right here as well. And so for the next step, we are actually going to use some of our pom-poms. So we have different colors here, and you can choose the color that you want to use for this. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna use our glue gun to put our pom-poms all the way across, like you guys see here on this one. All right, you guys, I'm ready to apply my glue with my glue gun. So I'm going to apply a portion here, just a little dot. And I have my pom-pom, and then I will just push down. I am going to go ahead and apply another small amount of the glue. There we go. Same thing. Grab another pom-pom and push down on that glue, just like that. So as you guys can see, I have 3 pom-poms with different colors added to the side. For the last and final step, I'm going to use this cord, and I'm going to get a little bit, maybe about that size. And this is actually going to help hang the piñata in place. So that will probably do it. And then I'll use my scissors to cut off the tip. And then I'll put a small amount of glue with my glue gun here, and put one corner of this here, and that should help keep that strand there in place. And then we'll do the same thing to the other side. Same thing, a little bit of glue, and then we'll go ahead and touch that down to make sure it stays in place and dries where we want it to. All right, you guys did great. We have a finished product here, and as you guys can see, everything is done. I have the cord here, it is applied, the glue is dried. You guys did fantastic. Great job out there, and I hope you enjoyed it and you're ready to have some fun with your piñata.